Hello class, I'm glad to see everybody can make it. I love it when the class is a full class, that makes me happy. It's the beginning of class, so you know what time it is. Pull out a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. It's time for the bell ringer quiz. We're going to go over what we talked about for the past couple of days in a quick little quiz to make sure you remember what we talked about. So, number one, what is this? When I'm doing this with the camera, what is this called? Number two, what is this called? What camera movement is this called? Number three, how do you white balance the camera? How do you white balance the camera? Okay, number four, what is this called? It's very important, you need this. And the last one, what is this called? Without this, it's pretty tough to do anything with this camera. Okay, good job. Now, when people go out and they shoot pictures, okay, or video, do they just go out crazily and just shoot whatever they want to and stuff? No, they follow what's called the 7 concepts of good picture taking. In this class, you're going to learn the 7 concepts of good picture taking. By the time we're done here, you'll be able to list the 7 concepts and you'll be able to take pictures using those 7 concepts of good picture taking. Okay? So, what I'm going to show you is examples of the 7 concepts of good picture taking. Okay, about 29 years ago, I was sitting in the very seats you are, and I had to, took a photography class, and I had to use the 7 concepts of good picture taking and represent them in photographs. Okay, but this one right here, this is the first one. This is framing. What I did here is the subject is sitting right here on the fence, and I framed her in with the tree. Okay, so that one's called framing. Next one is rule of thirds. What you do here is you draw 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. Okay, and your subject should fit at the intersection of those lines. In this case, the bottle is at the intersection of the vertical and horizontal line. Okay, that's called rule of thirds. Next is balance. In this case, if you take this picture, cut it right down the center, you've got just as much on the left as you do on the right. Okay? On both sides, you have the same amount of picture on both sides. It's a balanced picture. This one is cropping. This is where your subject is right in the middle of the picture. In this case, from the left and the right, she's about the same distance. And from the bottom and the top, she's the same distance, so right in the center of the picture. That is cropping. And lastly, we have lines. Okay? In this, what you want to do is you want to draw the viewer's eyes through the picture, and I did it using railroad tracks. The railroad tracks follows you right through to the car crossing the tracks on the street. Okay, this one is lines. So those are 5 of the 7 concepts of good picture taking. Any questions? Okay, so what we're going to do now, how are you going to remember these 7 concepts of good picture taking? Well, there's a sentence. Frame rats by cropping all pictured lines. Okay, remember that sentence. Okay, the 7 concepts are framing, rule of thirds, balance, cropping, angle of view, perspective, and lines. Okay, so again, framing, the F for frame, framing, rats is the R, rule of thirds, the B is the balance, C, cropping, A for angle of view, P for perspective, and of course lines is lines. Okay, so we're going to show you some examples up here on the board. Pull up my PowerPoint. Here we go. Framing. Right here you've got framing. Your center of your picture, right in the center, is your subject, which is the ship right there. You've got it framed in with a tree going across the top and the people on the bottom, and your main subject is right in the center of the picture. Okay? Another example of this, right here. This little girl, she's your subject. She's framed in by the people and the arms. This is probably the bride here, and it's a wonderful picture, I think. I didn't take this. But framing, she's framed in by the different people's body parts. Next up, rule of thirds. Remember we talked about this. If you divide it vertically 2 ways and horizontally 2 ways, okay, it'll look like this, and there's your subject, okay? Intersecting lines, there's your subject. That's rule of thirds. Here's another example. Draw the lines, there's your statue. Your subject's right there where it should be. The next one we have is balance. We talked about this, very simple. What do you do here? Cut it down the center. You've got just as much on the left as you do the right. It's a balanced picture. Okay, that's very simple. Cropping, okay? With this picture of the window, what was done here is you've got just as much side on the right, just as much space on the right as you do the left, top and bottom. This could also almost be balanced, because if you cut this right in the center, you've got just as much there as you have on this side. So these things, the 7 concepts, can be used, multiple concepts in one shot. Okay? Right here, cropping, same thing with this door, right in the center of your picture, equal distance on both sides. This is a neat one, angle of view, okay? This is where you put the camera down low and you shoot up, or you're from the top shooting down. Different angles of view, something that you normally wouldn't look at, okay? So this is angle of view. Right there, this is angle of view. Also, you can see this might be framing too, because your subject's right here, you're down low getting a different angle, okay? And your view is different. But he's also framed in with the handlebars in his arm. Okay, again, using 2 concepts in one shot. Perspective, these are the fun ones. Okay, this is where you're looking at something that may look a little bit different or funny than how it normally looks. We all know the Leaning Tower of Pisa is not being held up by this lady on the ground, but that's her perspective. It's a different way of looking at something. Right here, you got a T-Rex taking a bite out of the building. Okay, we know that's not true, but it's a different perspective. Lines, this one's neat. Remember I used railroad tracks before that draw your eye through the picture? Here, the waves in the sand draw you into the rock formations in the background. Okay? Right here, you have an escalator, all these lines going up. It'd be great if there was a person standing here, your subject, okay? But we don't have it here, but again, your eyes are drawn through the picture, it's lines. Remember, the 7 concepts. Frame rats by cropping all pictured lines. Okay? Real easy stuff. Anybody have any questions about those? We'll talk more about those in a second. And as far as those pictures that I showed you, I'm going to pass those out now because we're going to do some group work, okay? What I want you guys to do is get in groups, okay? 7 different groups. And what I'm going to do is have you guys talk about these 7 concepts of good picture taking, okay? And then once you're done talking about it, you're going to come up on the board over here and you're going to draw pictures of these 7 concepts of good picture taking. So I'll pass out these pictures so you guys can all look at these, pass them around, and then think about what kind of pictures you can take using the 7 concepts of good picture taking. Okay? For instance, right now where you guys are all sitting right now, everybody do me a favor. Get down on the ground. Sit on the ground for a second. Use your eyes as the camera and look at me. You see how different I look right now? That's angle of view. I look different. Okay? Now do this. Look down the desks. Okay? You're using lines to look down the desks to shoot somebody at the end of the desks. Okay? So I want you guys to take those concepts, think about them, then we're going to come up and draw them on the board. Okay, now you guys are ready? Come on up here. Each group, one person. Okay, I want one person from each group to give me a framing, a rule of third, a balance, cropping, angle of view, perspective, and lines. Come on up and draw them, and then we're going to rate them. We're going to look at them and give you some feedback. What you did good and what you need a little help on, so that when you do your assignment for tonight, you'll know exactly what you're doing. So come on up. Okay, there's the first one. That looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Did they do a good job? Yeah, they did. That looks really good. So, remember, Frame rats by cropping all pictured lines. 7 concepts of good picture taking are framing, rule of thirds, balance, cropping, angle of view, perspective, and lines. Your homework assignment is to go out and get a picture of each one of those concepts, bring it in for the next class, and we will put them up on the board, on the screen, and we're going to critique them. What you did good and what you could do better. Okay? So that's your homework assignment again. Use the 7 concepts of good picture taking, frame rats by cropping all pictured lines, and go out there, get pictures, and bring them into class. We'll critique them next time. Anybody have any questions? Okay, have a great day. Thank you.